I have always been ahead of my time. I predict that very shortly the old-fashioned incandescent lamp, having a filament heated to brightness by the passage of electric current through it, will entirely disappear. My mother had taught me to seek all truth in the Bible. Of all things, I liked books best. My father had a large library, and whenever I could manage, I tried to satisfy my passion for reading. They say much about the Einstein's theory now. According to Einstein, the ether does not exist, and many people agree with him. But it is a mistake in my opinion. Ether's opponents refer to the experiments of Michelson-Morley, who made attempts to detect the Earth's movement relative to the fixed bed ether. These experiments failed. However, it didn't mean the ether's non-existence. I always based as fact the existence of mechanical ether in my works, and therefore I could achieve positive success. Our virtues and our failings are inseparable, like force and matter. When they separate, man is no more. The entire Earth will be converted into a huge brain. I predict that very shortly the old-fashioned incandescent lamp, having a filament heated to brightness by the passage of electric current through it, will entirely disappear. The progressive development of man's ultimate purpose, the complete mastery of mind over the material world. Edison was by far the most successful, and probably the last exponent of the purely empirical method of investigation. Everything he achieved was the result of persistent trials and experiments often performed at random, but always attesting extraordinary vigor and resource. Starting from a few known elements, he would make their combinations and permutations, tabulate them, and run through the whole list, completing test after test with incredible rapidity until he obtained a clue. His mind was dominated by one idea: to leave no stone unturned, to exhaust every possibility. No rocket will reach the moon save by a miraculous discovery of an explosive far more energetic than any known. And even if the requisite fuel were produced, it would still have to be shown that the rocket machine would operate at 459 degrees below zero, the temperature of interplanetary space. Each day we go to our work in the hope of discovering. One of the great events in my life was my first meeting with Edison. This wonderful man, who had received no scientific training, yet had accomplished so much, filled me with amazement. I felt that the time I had spent studying languages, literature, and art was wasted, though later, of course, I learned this was not so. When I get an idea, I start at once building it up in my imagination. I change the construction, make improvements, and operate the device in my mind. It is absolutely immaterial to me whether I run my turbine in my thought or test it in my shop. I even note if it is out of balance. I hold that space cannot be curved, for the simple reason that it can have no properties. It might as well be said that God has properties. He has not, but only attributes, and these are of our own making. Of properties we can only speak when dealing with matter filling the space. To say that in the presence of large bodies space becomes curved is equivalent to stating that something can act upon nothing. I, for one, refuse to subscribe to such a view. All peoples everywhere should have free energy sources. Every living being is an engine geared to the wheel work of the universe. I do not think there is any thrill that can go through the human heart like that felt by the inventor as he sees some creation of the brain unfolding to success. Such emotions make a man forget food, sleep, friends, love, everything. They say much about the Einstein's theory now. According to Einstein, the ether does not exist, and many people agree with him. But it is a mistake in my opinion. Ether's opponents refer to the experiments of Michelson-Morley, who made attempts to detect the Earth's movement relative to the fixed bed ether. These experiments failed. However, it didn't mean the ether's non-existence. I always based as fact the existence of mechanical ether in my works, and therefore I could achieve positive success. The scientific man does not aim at an immediate result. He does not expect that his advanced ideas will be readily taken up. His work is like that of the planter. For the future, his duty is to lay the foundation for those who are to come, and point the way. He lives and labors and hopes. Great moments are born great opportunity. The human mind thinks but to complicate. As soon as one problem is solved, that solution introduces new complications, other problems that perhaps did not exist before. That was one of my great troubles when I was younger. I invented many things that were very fine, but always I was getting into complications. I have had to work very hard to overcome that. Our senses enable us to perceive only a minute portion of the outside world. Our hearing extends to a small distance. Our sight is impeded by intervening bodies and shadows. To know each other, we must reach beyond the sphere of our sense perceptions. We must transmit our intelligence, travel, transport the materials, and transfer the energies necessary for our existence. The future will show whether my foresight is as accurate now as it has proved heretofore. Ere many generations pass, our machinery will be driven by a power obtainable at any point of the universe. This idea is not novel. We find it in the delightful myth of Antaeus, who derives power from the earth. We find it among the subtle speculations of one of your splendid. Throughout space there is energy. Is this energy static or kinetic? If static, our hopes are in vain. If kinetic, and this we know it is, for certain, that it is a mere question of time when men will succeed in attaching their machinery to the very wheelwork of nature. The human being is a self-propelled automaton entirely under the control of external influences, willful and predetermined though they appear. His actions are governed not from within, but from without. He is like a float tossed about by the waves of a turbulent sea. So we find that the three possible solutions of the great problem of increasing human energy are answered by the three words: food, peace, work. Antisocial behavior is a trait of intelligence in a world full of conformists. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Alpha waves in the human brain are between 6 and 8 Hz. The wave frequency of the human cavity resonates between 6 and 8 Hz. All biological systems operate in the same frequency range. The human brain's alpha waves function in this range, and the electrical resonance of the Earth is between 6 and 8 Hz. Thus, our entire biological system, the brain and the Earth itself, work on the same frequencies. If we can control that resonate system electronically, we can directly control the entire mental system of humankind. I don't care that they stole my idea. I care that they don't have any of their own. My brain is only a receiver. In the universe, there is a core from which we obtain knowledge, strength, and inspiration. I have not penetrated into the secrets of this core, but I know that it exists. Be alone. That is the secret of invention. Be alone. That is when ideas are born. The gift of mental power comes from God, divine being. And if we concentrate our minds on that truth, we become in tune with this great power. It will soon be possible to transmit wireless messages around the world so simply that any individual can carry and operate his own apparatus. If your hate could be turned into electricity, it would light up the whole world. To know each other, we must reach beyond the sphere of our sense perceptions. If you only knew the magnificence of the 3, 6, and 9, then you would have the key to the universe. Einstein's relativity work is a magnificent mathematical garb which fascinates, dazzles, and makes people blind to the underlying errors. The theory is like a beggar clothed in purple whom ignorant people take for a king. Its exponents are brilliant men, but they are metaphysicists rather than scientists. Electric power is everywhere present in unlimited quantities, and can drive the world's machinery without the need of coal, oil, gas, or any other of the common fuels. Though free to think and act, we are held together, like the stars in the firmament, with ties inseparable. These ties cannot be seen, but we can feel them.